If you are not selling on multiple different platforms, you are losing out on money. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Catherine and I am a beauty and reselling enthusiast. So if those are things that you like to watch, please consider subscribing. My goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year and I need your help to do so. So if you like it, subscribe, comment, like, do all the wonderful YouTube things that YouTube offers to help engagement. And with that, let's get into today's video. So we are going to be doing our October reseller recap, and you heard right, October. Normally, this is a series that I like to do the following month, so I should have done this in November, but you know, time just got away from me and I wasn't able to do so. So we are doing it early December. So you're going to get a few reseller recaps back to back, usually sooner than they normally are, but such is life. So reseller recap, what is it? Well, I'm a part-time reseller and I like to keep track of all of my numbers, if you will. So, you know, my total profits, how much I sold on each platform, my highs, my lows, kind of what's working, what's not working. And I like to talk about it with you to other potential part-time resellers, full-time resellers, people who are getting into reselling. And we just kind of chat about it. So to make it easy, I will place all of my numbers right here. So again, we are recapping October. My total sales for that month was $878.60. My total cost of goods was $1,195.46, and my total profit was $716.93. Now, that falls very short of the goal that I had originally set myself at the beginning of the year. My goal of total profit for each month, I wanted it to be $1,100. So as you can tell, we fell quite short of that. There's many factors involved and we'll talk about it later. But my average cost of goods, that's what COG stands for, was $6.43. So on average, that's how much I spent per item that I sold. My average listing price was just under $41. And my average profit per item was $27.36, which is fantastic because my goal is to have a profit of at least $20 per item. So 27, that's probably one of the highest that it's been in a really long time, meaning I sold some items that were big dollars and I'm happy, and I'm very happy for that. My average days to sell was 66, so I always like to kind of account for this number, especially if you are a seasonal seller. You know, it's nice to know how long it takes for an item to sell. So, you know, we're just about into the winter months. So, well, technically we are in a winter month. It just hasn't turned winter quite yet. You know, if you are wanting to sell things like sweaters and jackets and coats and boots and stuff like that, you should have listed them about 66 days ago, or I should have listed them about 66 days ago. It might be different for you. The total number of items I sold was only 26 items. Wah, wah. I definitely would like to have more than that. I want more of everything. But 26, still a decent number. It's better than 20. We'll say that. It's better than none. We'll say that. Just not my happiest. And this is where I say you need to diversify yourself. If you are a reseller and you do not sell on multiple platforms, you need to. You're leaving money on the table. And I say that is because the platforms that I sold on, I sold 5 on eBay, 2 on Mercari, 4 on Depop, 0 on Curtsy, and 15 on Poshmark. Now, Poshmark is normally the one where I sell the most. And, you know, this month is no different. But 15 compared to, what is that, 11 on other platforms? If I did not sell on other platforms, I would have just lost 11 sales. And, you know, this is a little bit more drastic compared to some of my other months where I usually sell a lot more on Poshmark. But I don't see why you wouldn't want to list on multiple different platforms. I mean, truly, I don't understand. If you don't, please let me know why. I guess one reason I can think of is that it can take some time to do multiple different platforms, but I use Vendu I know that it's an extra business expense for you if you don't do that, but I use Vendoo, which is a site on its own that I list onto Vendoo, and then it lists on multiple different platforms for me, or at least very easily, instead of having to manually put in for each platform. Like I said, it is an additional expense, but I think it's worth it. Maybe somebody who does this more for a hobby, maybe not. I don't know. I'm genuinely curious. If you don't sell on multiple platforms, please let me know why. But I think it's worth it, especially if I'm going to pay that much for Vendoo. I'm going to list on all the platforms that I can. And, you know, not all of them are going to make sales. Like Curtsy didn't make any sales this month, but that's okay. It's a few, well, even Curtsy, it's not even on Vendoo. It's through, they have something really interesting where you list on Poshmark and there's like a toggle button on Curtsy, and it will take all of your listings that you have on Poshmark that fit within the Curtsy's criteria. So basically no men's and potentially no kids clothes. And it just copies and does it for you. Like, you don't have to have any other software, it just does it. So if you sell on Poshmark, you need to be selling on Curtsy, because it's literally no extra effort for you to do it. So at least maybe that's a start for you to start diversifying. All right, so I always do like to talk about my highest sales and my lowest sales. So let's jump into that. All right, so I always start with my lowest profiting items. And we are starting with this Athleta Stratus 2 short sleeve tee. Obviously it's sold on Poshmark. My cost of goods was $6.44 and it sold for $14. So I profited $5.31. It did sell within 152 days of the first time listing it. And it sold by, I do some waterfall sales every so often. So the highest my percentage of sales will go is to 60% off, and that is how it sold. Somebody took that offer of 60% off and got it for $14. The next item also sold on Poshmark. This is from Lily Saduhi. I don't know how to pronounce it. These are Tortoise Brooklyn sunglasses. I originally had gotten these in like a FabFitFun box, and I think I wore them once and just realized that they weren't for me. So I opted to sell them, you know, because it's what I do. So I sell things that don't work for me. And so my cost of goods was, I think, $7.50. That was a rough estimate. I'm pretty sure that's how much it cost. They sold for $20. My profit was $8.50. They sold within 40 days of the first time listing it. I do remember these did seem kind of popular on multiple different platforms, but ultimately they did sell on Poshmark. And again, they sold for a 60% off offer. So if you like any of my items and don't want to make an offer, feel free to like an item, and every so often I do this waterfall sale where it kind of goes from, 20%, 30%, 40%, 60%. So if you like any of the items. The next item was a pair of shoes that actually sold on eBay. These were the, go away raccoon, these were the Soul Society Olivia Merlot suede pointed toe kitten heel. What a name. So they're really pretty, just like a Merlot color, low heel, ankle straps, super beautiful. So my cost of goods was $4.99. These did sell for $20 plus shipping, which ended up being $31.55. So my profit was $10.14, and they did sell within 45 days of the first time listing it. And I did receive an offer from the buyer, and these were not a promoted listing. So on eBay and Depop, I both do promoted and boosted listings. They're called different things on different platforms. But these did not sell on a promoted listing, meaning I didn't have to pay that additional cost for them to be promoted, which is always nice. Then the next item in my lowest profits was this Teva Black Flatform Universal, again sold on Poshmark. My cost of goods was $4.89. They sold for $20. My profit was $11.43. They sold within 55 days of the first time listing it, and I did receive an offer from the buyer. And if you're curious to know where I get these items. I do have a thrift haul playlist that I can link up on the screen for you, and I kind of haul most of my items that I get, and most of them are from like Goodwill and Plato's and Buffalo Exchange and other thrift stores. So if you're ever curious, make sure to check out that link. And then rounding out my lowest profits, again, we go back to eBay, and this is an Athleta A-Game perforated tank top in white, size small, excellent condition, retailed for $48. Kind of this cool tank top where it has this like perforated business, and these are like how I take my pictures too. So I always kind of start with, you know, the front angle, then some like shoulder details, the brand tag and size, usually some other details, and then like the interior tags and stuff like that, and then the back. So this sold on eBay. My cost of goods was $3.78, and it sold for $20 plus shipping, which ended up being $28.30, making my profit $11.76. It sold within 144 days of the first time listing it, and I did receive an offer from the buyer, and it was not a promoted listing, which is, again, always nice. So let's get into arguably the best part. Is the highest profiting items. So we're going to start on the low end. So this is a pair of closed excellent jeans. I do know I got these at a Buffalo Exchange on clearance, and they sold on Poshmark. My cost of goods was $11.55. They sold for $60, so I profited $41.22. They did sell within 235 days, so definitely quite some time to sell these, but I'd only listed them once. I do tend to try to relist my items. I'm just not very consistent about it, so sometimes you'll see some items that have been listed for quite some time. But I did receive an offer from the buyer, so that is always good. My next item is this Amour Vert Charlotte long sleeve novelty sateen blouse in black. It was new with tags. It retailed for $190. This did sell on eBay. My cost of goods was $6.73. It sold for $70 plus shipping, so it ended up being $80.07. My profit was $45.11. It took 22 days in the first time listing it, so I would say this is something that, I couldn't tell if it was just the style of it or it being with tags or what, but somehow the combination of everything, it sold really quickly. I did receive an offer from the buyer, and it was a promoted listing. So obviously here are some stock photos and then my own photos. Again, kind of that shoulder detail. I'm pointing on the screen, but you can't see it. I love when they go ahead, right there. I love when they have the names of stuff, so it makes it super easy for you to look up. Then the next item brought us to Depop. So this is a pair of Birkenstock Yara Sandal Havana Oiled Nubuck Leather. They were in excellent condition, if not never used. My cost of goods was $5.58. They sold for $95, and so my profit was $77.55. They sold within 55 days of the first time listing them, and it was a full price sale, which is super nice. And I honestly think this was my only full price sale of the month. So I'm happy that it happened on Depop because there are no seller fees on Depop. So you get to keep more of the money, which is amazing. But these were a boosted sale, as you can see right here. So I did have to pay an additional, I think 8% of the total sale. But I'd rather pay the 8% and not pay seller fees. So it all works out. And then we head over to Mercari. So I told you, it's good to diversify. This is a pair of Freebird by Steven. The style was called Quail and Taupe Multi. It sold on Mercari. My cost of goods was $3.62. Can you believe that? I found a pair of Freebird for $3.62. Amazing. And here are some of my photos. It sold for $92. My profit was $88.38. It took 40 days to sell within the first time listing it, and I did receive an offer from the buyer. And then going into my highest profiting sale, I am so excited, brings us back to Poshmark, and it is a pair of this Flower Mountain Pampas Teddy Eco Shearling and Suede sneakers in pink. How fun are these sneakers? These are so cute. Here's some of my my pictures. See if I can get you to the brand tag so you can see what it looks like. So kind of have this like cork interior, super duper cute. Obviously on Poshmark, my cost of goods was $8.55. It sold for $140. So my profit was $119.71. They took 55 days to sell within the first time listing it, and I did receive an offer from the buyer. So I always like to encourage bundles as well. So I usually have an ongoing bundle sale, which changes from time to time, but my normal bundle sale is 2 items for $36. And the only stipulation is that their price has to be $99 and below. So in essence, you could get $198 worth of items for $36. So I literally only had 2 bundles this month. So they are both my high and my low bundle. So my low bundle was comprised of this pair of Dansko Rhiannon studded booties. I had originally purchased these for myself. I did pick them up at a thrift store, but I thought I was going to use them. Didn't end up using them. They were super cool. These are kind of the only type of Danskos that I'll pick up now, is like these fun, funky styles compared to like that traditional clog style, unless the clogs are really cool. But usually these are the type of Danskos I like to pick up. So this was one of the items, and then the second item was this Eileen Fisher felted merino wool. Oh, okay, there we go. Merino wool window pane open front cardigan. So this kind of really pretty fun, maybe not fun, but like simple, casual, but has a little funk to it with the window pane print. I did note that it did have some like sweater, it needed to be sweater shaved, or pilling that could be sweater shaved. I wasn't going to do it, and somebody still purchased it. So both these items together, my cost of goods was $17.04, and it sold for $36, so I profited $11.76. And then my highest bundle starts with this. Well, let's scroll down. If I scroll down, it's going to scroll down too much. My computer is like, you're running too many programs at once. So this first item was this BB Dakota Shasta puff dress. So this really pretty kind of like faux leather dress with this really cute like little puff sleeve details. Let's see. Trying to see. Oh yeah, I was trying to read my number. So really cute, like little puff sleeve detail. And then the second item was this pair of Steve Madden Valor black suede booties. Oh my gosh, if they wore those together, that would look so fierce. Look at this, like this heel on it. It was like this circular cone heel. It's very cool. So both of these together, the cost of goods was $10.21. That sold for $36. So my profit was $18.59. Not too shabby. Coming back to you on full screen to finish out this video, and what I like to talk about in this section of the video is just some additional notes, some other things that I like to track. So the first one being, did I have any returns or cases open up? And it was 0, and that is always a great thing to not have to worry about any returns or cases being opened up. It means that I was hopefully doing my due diligence of making sure everything was described as it is and all that kind of stuff. So being very, very transparent with it and taking accurate photos and whatnot. But also I didn't have any same day sales, which is kind of a bummer. I really love having same day sales. It is like the ultimate gratification and validation to have same day sales of, you know, you literally list something that day, it sells that day, you ship the next day. I wish everything was a same day sale. That would be amazing. But we didn't have any of those, but we did have some same week sales. So we had 3 items, if I get 3 items that sold within the same week. So that's good validation, not as much as same day sales, but I will still take it. And then as far as full price sales, we already talked about it. It was that Birkenstock Yara sandals that sold on Depop for $95. Yes, I'll take that as a full price sale. Interestingly enough, I did not have any Posher VA sales. So if you're unfamiliar with Posher VA, just like Vendu, it is an additional expense that you can pay for that is, this one in particular is an extension on your computer that is kind of your Poshmark friend. It shares for you, it sends out automatic offers for you. I think you can even relist and delist things. I don't use that feature quite yet, but I do use the sharing and the sending out offers. So when somebody likes an item, my Ravie will send out an immediate 20% offer for them to hopefully kind of grab their attention, and hopefully that they'll take that 20% off offer. But it didn't happen this month, and that's okay. I still think Ravie is worth it for the sharing. If you are interested in Vendu or Ravie, I always have my referral links down below if you're looking to maybe expand your reselling business, hobby, whatever. I think they're personally worth it, and they usually pay for themselves each month. And then as far as my sales, so I always like to account for how many items am I actually selling through sales that I advertise in my closet. And again, I didn't sell too many things this month, so it's going to be natural that my bundle sales is going to be lower. But I did sell 2 bundles, which we talked about, so 4 items total. Still think it's worth it. I always like to kind of tease out how many offers I'm sending versus how many offers I received. And this month was quite different. So in October, I received 17 offers from people wanting to buy my items compared to me sending out 4 offers and people accepting them. So to me, I think that's pretty cool. It kind of shows that people are actively searching out those items and making an offer on it. So I think that's neat. Do I know that's exactly the case? Absolutely not, but it's a cool figure to account for. And then I like to go through my promoted versus boosted items. So I did sell 2 promoted items on eBay versus 3 not promoted. So out of the 5 total, 2 were promoted, 3 were not promoted. And then on Depop, out of the 4 items, only 1 sold as boosted and 3 is not boosted. So that's pretty neat too. Kind of makes me think that people were actively looking for those items, like going into the search bar and looking for Birkenstock Yara sandals, compared to them coming up on their feed and being like, oh, that's cool, I want to buy that. Again, I do promoted and boosted on eBay and Depop. I think it's worth the percentage fee. On Poshmark, it's a way different system, and I really don't like how it's set up, so I don't use it. But again, if you have success with it, more power to you. Tell me your success stories down below. Maybe I'll change my mind, but I don't think it's worth it to me. And then just some additional notes overall. So during October, if we remember back then, I know it's not too long ago, but I feel like so much has happened since then. Poshmark came out with a new fee structure. And that new fee structure was quite, it was quite complicated. And I couldn't even remember what the fee structure was. But in the end, it did seem like it pushed a lot of the fees onto the buyer. So the seller got to keep more profits and stuff like that. Now, although that's great for sellers, we also need buyers. And if buyers don't want to buy because fees are too high, then it doesn't matter how much sellers get. Although I will tell you, there was many complaints in the gallery, many complaints, but I actually felt like sales were pretty good. Now I know you're like, Catherine, you only sold 26 items in October. Yes, you're right. But I also took 8 days of vacation in October, and I put my closet on vacation mode, so nobody could purchase from me. And I don't know if you know or if you've had this experience, but when your closet goes on vacation mode, it's like a death sentence to your closet, because you're not engaging, you're not listing new things, you're not sharing new things, all that stuff that kind of keeps that algorithm happy, you aren't doing. So it kind of puts you in like a death zone. So I would be curious to know if they kept the fee, like how they changed the fee structure originally, and I wasn't on vacation mode, would that have changed? We also see that I had more profits on Poshmark. So some of the, when I was going through my highs and lows, those sold during a time when the fee structure had changed. And I think I made more profit than losing. It kind of depended on the price range of your item, because it was like 1% plus, I don't know, so many cents, and then 2% plus so many. It was a really funky kind of fee structure for sure. Compared to like the 20% just flat fee. So I didn't sell anything that kind of fell into that range of like, you kind of got screwed over because of that fee. No, everything I made more money on. So I was kind of excited about it, but so many people complained about it that they reversed it. They literally reversed it. It took like, what, 1 or 2 weeks of this new fee structure, and they're like, nope, just kidding, we're gonna reverse it to appease the gallery. So if you are not, you let me know if you sell on Poshmark and you were here during this fee structure change, did your sales go up, down, stay the same? What were your thoughts about it? Because it was a very curious time. So I already talked about having 8 days of vacation. It was a great vacation. We went to Disneyland. We went hard at Disneyland, and then we actually went to Atlanta, Georgia for my husband to graduate with his doctorate degree that he's been working so hard on. So it was a much needed vacation and was very lovely, and congratulations to him. This time Depop also made your offers binding, but like kind of. It's still weird. I've only had like maybe 1 or 2 sales on Depop where it's actually been binding right off the gate. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Depop has this very annoying thing that no other platform has, I believe, that when a buyer makes an offer and you accept that offer, it is not binding. No, it's like a back and forth dance. They have to make you an offer, you accept the offer, they have to accept that you accepted the offer, and then the sale goes through. And I have major qualms with Depop, although I love when I sell things on there. It is so hard to make sales because of this back and forth dance that you have to do. And I do not feel like their messaging system or their notification system is that good. And I say that is because although I'm on the Depop app quite a lot, I miss offers, I miss messages, I miss tons of things. So if I'm missing it and I'm a very active seller, I know people who are buying things are also missing those messages and offers and things like that. So it's not a very good system. So Depop made this like half-ass attempt of offers being binding, but the buyer has to like click so that it's a binding. So they still have the option of like, no, you can make an offer, and if they accept it, you can still later decline it. Or of no, if the seller accepts my offer, then it's binding. That is why Depop is definitely not on the number one of my selling platforms. I still consistently make sales on Depop, but I feel like it's a lot of effort to do so, and I don't really like that. Also more kind of like, market news is that Kittison just disappeared. It was like, hey, by the way, we're not a platform anymore. And I never sold on Kittison. That was one platform that I never got on. I think it was a platform that obviously started with kids clothes and then integrated into like, I don't know if it was just women's clothing, but it was just something I never sold on. With Vendu, I think you had the option of selling on it, but Kittison is no longer a thing, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, they just kind of disappeared with no notice. So it really makes you reflect on what's gonna happen to other platforms. Like, I don't know how well Kittison was doing, or clearly unwell it was doing. But that was like a really big surprise to a lot of people who sold there. So I don't know, did you sell on Kitizen? Like, did it impact you and your sales at all? It just makes me really think, because I know like Mercari and obviously Depop, not Depop, Poshmark were making a lot of changes to their fee structures and stuff like that. And you know, I don't know their business, so I don't know how well or not well that they're doing, but it's like, is this gonna impact, you know, some of these main ones that impact me? You know, Poshmark is my main bae, and so I would hate for something to happen to Poshmark, but who knows what's gonna happen. So again, this kind of is like a full circle moment. Diversify yourself, because for instance, if you're only selling on Kitizen and now Kitizen is gone, you have to learn a whole new platform. You have to take all of that time to maybe relist stuff, after figuring out a platform, trying to figure out what's going to be best for you to get up and running again. But if you are diversifying yourself, that's just one platform that got taken away, but you have 5 other platforms that are still working for you. So another reason why I highly suggest, if you're only selling on one platform, maybe consider another one just in case, because you never know. And then last thing in my notes is that I did notice that let me go back to my actual spreadsheet of everything. All but one item that I sold this month was within the first time listing it. I only sold, one item that I've relisted 3 times. So again, does that make me think that I'm doing a better job about finding more current styles, that I don't have to relist it because it's selling within the first time? Maybe. So kudos to me. But yeah, that's today's October's reseller recap video. Like I said, I will be filming November's video probably in the middle of this month, which is normally what I do. But I always like to make sure things are finalized, so, you know, all sales go through, no things of cases or returns or anything like that, which I think most everything has settled itself out. So I'm sure I'll be filming that video in the near future. But let me know what your thoughts, you know, how are things going with you as a reseller? Things great, not so great, in the middle? Also too, if you are not a reseller but you are interested in getting started, I know I've kind of been teasing this video. I do want to do like a how-to guide of like how to get started with reselling. Please let me know your interest in that. If you have any questions with that, leave it all in the comments down below. I am compiling ideas for the video, and I really kind of want to make it more organized than a lot of my videos are. So it's really a good guide for you. But other than that, thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.